Today we're building a little ChatGPT clone using Google's cutting-edge open source large language model, Gemma. Hi. Write an apology email for a late shipment. First of all, we're gonna grab our model. Let's head over to huggingface.co. Then we'll type in Gemma 2B IT, and you'll have to log in and accept the terms of use, promising that you're not going to misuse this technology. Under settings, head over to access tokens and copy the access token. Head over to your terminal and go ahead and install the Hugging Face CLI. Now Hugging Face CLI login. Paste your token into the terminal. It's not a get credential and the login is successful. Now we're just about ready to code. The first few imports are from the web framework Flask. We're gonna import Flask, render template, request, and JSONify. Next we'll bring in auto tokenizer and pipeline from the transformers library, and we'll import torch. We're going to say that our model is Google Gemma 2 billion IT. Now the IT models are instruction fine-tuned models that you can interact with conversationally. We're going to say that our tokenizer is the auto tokenizer from pre-trained, and we'll pass in that model, and we'll define our pipeline with the following parameters. It's going to be a text generation pipeline. It's going to have the model that we're using, which is Google's Gemma 2 billion instruction. We'll have a max new tokens of 556, and this is pretty random. You can play with this to see what suits you, but we don't want too many tokens since we're running this locally on our computer and we don't want things to get very heavy and slow. We'll say that do sample is true. The temperature is going to be 0.7, and you can mess with this and choose different temperatures and see what the results are. Top K is 50, top P is 0.95, and we'll go ahead and close it up. Next, we'll say that our messages is this empty list, and we'll add on to it as our conversation goes on. Next, we'll define our base route that simply returns an HTML file called chat.html. The next route that we're going to define is a chat route, and basically you post some JSON to it, grab that JSON, the message that the user sends. It appends the message to our messages with this format: role user content chat message. And we're going to use a handy tool from our pipeline that's going to apply a template to our messages. Then, in order to debug this if necessary, we'll print out our prompt, and we'll say that our outputs are the result of passing in the prompt with some configuration to our pipeline. Finally, we'll grab the assistant response from our outputs, and we'll append the assistant message as well to our messages before returning it to our user. Now, since we're running this locally, we'll say that if name is main, we're going to run this with debug set to true, which is going to give us some auto refreshing capabilities. Next to our Python module, we're going to want this templates directory where we store our chat.html file. So go ahead and create it, and in here I have a whole bunch of styles, but the key to this is having a chat output section and a form with a text input as well as a submit. In order to keep things simple, I'm not using any JavaScript framework, just bare vanilla JavaScript. And the first thing I do is I grab that form with query selector, I grab my chat input as well, and I grab the chat output. I have a function which creates a div and adds a class of chat message to it. If the type that's created is a sent message, it adds a sent message class to it. If it's a received message, it does the same but with received message. Then it adds the text content, which is text, and it appends it to chat output. I have a very naive implementation of a display loading class, which adds this div that I'm then going to style when it's loading. Add an event listener to my form for submit. The first thing I do is I prevent the default behavior. I go ahead and trim the value of my chat input, and then I use the fetch API in order to go ahead and send the content to my backend. Now, if you want this one-page front end, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll create a gist for it. so that you can go ahead and focus on the Python and the AI logic. And with all of this put together, all I have to do is install some libraries and I'm ready to go. The first library I need to install is Flask, so for that I'll type in pip install Flask with a capital F. Next, you'll have to install the transformers library, and for that you'll likely want to type in pip install transformers torch. Run your script by typing in python 3 chat.py, and the first time you run this it's gonna take a little time. And we'll go ahead and say hi. Explain LLMs to a first grader. Pretty remarkable stuff. If you need any of the links I mentioned, let me know in the comments below. I hope this opens up your appetite to what can be done using this technology.